he gave an interview today. This is to the Midas Touch guy, which is a popular left-wing podcast. And would you listen to him talk about the goals he had coming into office and how he did? SOT 31.
When I ran, I said I was going to try to do three things: restore some integrity to the office, bring back a sense of focus on the needs of ordinary people, and try to unite the country. And so that's what I've done. I've tried to do. In 4 years, we've accomplished a lot. I mean,
that's what he's done.
Those were the three things he most egregiously failed at. He didn't bring integrity. He allowed his son, he tried to fix his son sentencing with a sweetheart deal from the DOJ that would have gone through had not courageous people you had on your show, the IRS whistleblowers, stopped it. And then he pardoned his son after he said 6 times that he wouldn't. He just pardoned 1,500 miscreants. He doesn't even know what they did. His staff probably did it for him and got it by them. He did not unite the country. That's the one thing he was at pains not to do. The only time he was coherent in 4 years is when he got angry. And when he gave that Phantom of the Opera semi-fascist ultra mega speech, it was just dripping with hatred. And he did that even in the State of the Union addresses. He went after the people, not just Trump, but the people who voted for him. And he did not help the middle class. When he got through after 4 years, real wages were stagnant, if not declining. And more importantly, the cumulative inflation rate from the day he entered office to the day he left on staple goods, food, gas, rent, insurance, power was about 25 to 30% higher. And he really made it almost impossible for a middle class person to survive under him. So it was a complete disaster. And don't listen to me. These were what the polls showed, that in retrospect, the economy showed that no voters had confidence in him. He was polling 40% approval rate on the economy, 40% on the border, down the line. And, they all said that this was not a referendum or on Biden, or it was not a blowout for Trump, or it was not a landslide victory. It was, in a way, because Donald Trump won the popular vote for the first time for Republican in 20 years. He won the Electoral College. He now has, you could say, the Republicans, for the first time in my memory, control the White House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and more importantly, they had issues, every one of them, foreign policy and deterrence, crime, energy, the transgender issue, the border, et cetera, that the majority of the people were behind. So I don't think they get it yet. Joe Biden, if anybody adheres to what he just said, is delusional. I don't think anybody believes it.
His approval rating right now is 39. There's another poll having him at 34. Yeah. He's going down day to day. As I don't know if people are forgetting, they think he's gone already, but it's going down right now. Trump is going up. Trump's approval rating right now, his favorability rating, is at 49%, which is amazing. We haven't seen those kinds of numbers for Trump. This time in 2016, it was at 42%, and he had a 53% unfavorable. Right now, it's 47% unfavorable. So Trump's unfavorables have shrunk considerably. His favorability has gone up considerably, and he is between 10 and 15 points higher than Joe Biden in favorability. How? How does Hitler, fascist dictator on day one do that, Victor?
Well, he's popular for a variety of reasons. You pointed out some. One of them is he was defiant, and he went through things that would have destroyed any other person, as we talked about. But also, he's a very different 78 than almost anybody you see. When he gave those he outworked everybody. He gave those marathon talks. He gave an hour-long press conference, and even his critics the other day said, "This is so needed, and it's such in contrast that he'll talk about anything to anybody, anywhere, anytime, in a way that Joe Biden, we've never seen him do it." He had 30 cabinet meetings, 19 1 year. Total cabinet meetings was 4 times the number of Joe Biden. So he was a very vigorous, undaunted, indomitable figure. In addition to that, he's coming into office after we saw 4 years. It's almost as if fate is saying, we had to take the country through this nightmare, and we had to almost destroy Donald Trump to show you what the left will do if you turn over the powers of government, the Senate and the House, to them. They will destroy the border. They will inflict on you and infuse on you these crazy ideas about gender reassignment surgeries and abortion into the 9th month at the moment of delivery, and withdrawing from Afghanistan, leaving $50 billion. They're capable of that, but you don't believe it? Well, we'll show you. And that's what we saw for 4 years. And Donald Trump had a record this time. So he was saying to everybody, look at the prior 4 years, and then look at what followed my 4 years. And that really helped him. The other thing was, and I think this is on the first day, is very important. A lot of people criticize his appointments because he's privileged royalty. But for every appointment, the proper way to ascertain their suitability is to ask, what is the alternative last time when he was there? So we have Kash Patel, and he's qualified by any measure, but he's compared to what? James Comey, who was there? James Comey and Andrew McCabe, his interim successor, as well. They did everything in their power to destroy their commander-in-chief. Andrew McCabe lied 4 times to a federal investigator. James Comey claimed he couldn't remember 245 times into a House Intelligence Committee while under oath. You say, look at Kash Patel, and then you look at Lloyd Austin. Whatever, I mean, I have regard, he's a colleague of mine, General Mattis, and the people who followed him, but they were not there to help further and empower the Trump MAGA agenda. They were not. And Jeff Sessions, maybe he was, but he's not going to do what Pam Bondi. And the people at the NIH and others, they were not there to mitigate the economic, social, cultural effects of the lockdown and the whole controversies over the
God
lab
complex of Anthony Fauci. They played right into that. Never mind.
Francis Collins as well. So what I'm getting at is he's coming into office with people that he can trust, in the sense that when he says something, they will say to the president, that's what I will do. And I have some ideas how I can even make it more quickly and more effectively in power. And the other people's attitude was his own cabinet members, for the most part. If he said something to a John Bolton or to a Jeff Sessions or to a Christopher Wray or any of these people, they would have said, that's Donald Trump. Nah, he just has crazy ideas. I'm Mark Milley. I've just psychoanalyzed him. I am going to call up my Chinese counterpart and tell him that my commander-in-chief is crazy, and don't worry, I won't obey an order. That's the type of people he had to deal with. And he came into office without any support from the Republican Party, opposition from the Democratic Party, and he was told these are the people who are the professional class, and you need them. And he followed that advice for 2 or 3 years. He's not going to do that now. And he only came to that realization after all the damage that they did to him. And the ensuing 4 years, where many of these people in his own party said he got what he deserved. And so I think
they came in. They forgot that he was the reason they had those jobs, that they had those positions. They had him to thank for them.
That's such a good point. When I saw all of the things that John Bolton has said recently, and all the things he said during the impeachment, when he was kind of winking and nodding and saying, I have a memoir coming out. I'm not going to say anything, but wait till my memoir comes out. And then you think, well, where were you, John Bolton? You could never, under any imaginable circumstances, return to government. Even George Bush could not appoint you to the UN ambassadorship unless he had a recess appointment. And what did you do when Donald Trump brought you into a position where you didn't have to be confirmed with the National Security Advisor? You immediately started leaking and telling people that he was an idiot, and you had ways to circumvent it. And you never thanked him. And to this day, you've libeled almost every one of his appointees. And you want us to believe that Comey, McCabe, Wray, Mattis, all of these people that had a chance, yourself, were wonderful public servants and efficient and really did a great job. And it's not true, and people know it. And these people are very bitter because not only did they fail to destroy Donald Trump, but their very venom directed at him has helped fuel his comeback, because they don't have any idea how disliked they are by the American public. And you saw, Donald Trump reached out to RFK and to Tulsi Gabbard and to Elon Musk. These people were liked. Whatever you thought about them, they were liked. When they tried to emulate that and brought in never Trumpers, but especially people like Liz Cheney, she was dour, she was mean-spirited, she had tried to destroy Donald Trump. And the idea that you were going to parade around with her and that was going to get you Republican or any support, it was just ludicrous.
Right.
The people
Liz Cheney has no constituency.
No constituency. She's bitter, she's angry. And Donald Trump, she voted 93% with him the first term. So he had a unique ability to, and create animosity, but these people got so obsessed with him that they really revealed who they are. The only existential question we have is, are they where they are? Did they always want to be there? Or was it only their hatred of Trump that, deluded them or turned them into crazy people? Maybe, I don't know what the Never Trumper, the Lincoln Project, the John Bolton, Bill Kristol, where they are now, but they're nowhere. And I don't know whether that's nowhere is what the political wilderness is where they want to be, or whether they were just crushed by Donald Trump. But they're pathetic figures now.
The TDS just completely blinded them. They could never get their eyes clear again. And that's why all their predictions were wrong. Their opinions were wrong. They've completely discredited themselves. Back on Team Biden, I did want to play you this just on the subject of his infirmity, because I know most in the media want to just move on, forget it, never mind that massive fraud we perpetrated on America. But it is interesting to go back to Pod Save America to hear those guys, those are Obama guys, now talking about it. And there's one guy, Favreau, another guy, Lovett, and they're talking about how Biden is gone. Like, where is he? He is the incredible shrinking president right now. I'm fine with it because I definitely don't want to see her elevated. I really did think he should go, but now we're so close to the end. Just, that's fine. As long as he stays alive through January 20th, I'm okay with it. But it really does feel more like Trump is president, a point they were making as well. Listen to SOT 18.
It was more or less a standard presidential policy announcement, the main difference being Trump isn't president yet. A fact that's getting easier and easier to forget as Joe Biden seems to be disappearing from the public stage as his term comes to an end. Has Joe Biden stepped out of the spotlight, or has the spotlight just moved away from Joe Biden?
Joe Biden believes in tradition and institutions, and we should only have one president at a time. And I think it's a surprising choice to allow it to be Donald Trump. But if that's what his plan is, I think it's about his long-term respect for our basic mores.
Remember during the Obama transition, how many times Barack Obama said the words while he was announcing cabinet appointees and staff, which was the only time he really went out? One president at a time, one president at a time. That was like the whole, that was the whole theme.
And just one more for you. Yeah. Oh, you like that?
I'd like to correct both of them and remind you that Barack Obama said, when asked would he would like a third term, he said, I'd only like a third term if the person that was president had an earpiece and I could phone in all my directives to him. And if rumors are correct, Barack Obama helped engineer the ascendance of Joe Biden after he'd lost the first three caucuses and primaries. And Obama and his coterie looked around and they said, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders are not viable candidates or too far left. This guy, as crazy as he is, and don't ever underestimate the ability, as Obama said, for Joe Biden to F it up, we will use him as a facade. And we will have a hard left agenda, and they will go for it because Jill and he always want to be in the spotlight. And that's what we've suffered through for 4 years. And the idea that Obama thought there was one president in time, I would suggest both of them, if they're worried about having only one president, why don't they invoke the Logan Act? And the Logan Act says that no private citizen can conduct foreign policy while there's a government in power. Why don't they do what they did to Michael Flynn? He made a phone call supposedly with the Russians, and they were ready to put him in jail, not just for being disingenuous about it, but for the very fact he talked to somebody before he was officially national security advisor. Donald Trump, in their own view, has violated the Logan Act. But the reason they're not talking, they don't mention the Logan Act one moment, is if they did, they would be shouted down by about 150 million Americans now. And they know that.
Right, exactly. We
And
need
they-
somebody. For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale in the wake of this presidential election, right? Work can finally be done on the major issues that this country's facing, and one of the most significant is our national debt. Look, the fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled by anyone. So the strategy remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. Virtually all the experts say that's a good idea. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control that it really can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you if you would like to convert all or part of an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, which is like a hedging of the bets. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. You just text MK to 989898 and you get your free info kit. And plus right now you will receive a free 1 ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased silver eagle coin. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.